Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence, where patrons get access to a patron-only Discord, ad-free videos, and the joy of knowing they help support this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and today I have an ink to show you from the Endless Alchemy series. This is a Stardust version ink. It's called Magic Peach Fuzz, and I bought this for 20 bucks. It is a 45 milliliter bottle, as you can see there. Designed in Madras, made in India, made by Endless.com is where you can find this company, but you can also find these inks all over the joint. Lots of places have them. I like that they have all these details on the side. Color, peach. Sheen, nah. Shading, medium. Shimmer, white. Interesting. Suitable fountain pens and dip pens, etc. So this box has a lot of stuff in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through it real quick. First, you have this little kind of coastery card thing. Unique product ID. I don't even know what that means exactly. I guess you could Google it or something. But it has this like kind of swatch card you can do, which is neat. And you're gonna see there's not. Yeah, do you see any shimmer there? Yeah, it's gonna be common. Then in here we have this this big piece of foam. And we have this little thing I'll talk about in a sec. And you have so much stuff. You have this other little cork coastery deal, and that's because these alchemy inks are kind of flask shaped. They have this little nub on the bottom. There is the shimmer right there, right there. And if you put this down on the desk, it kind of does this little weeble wobble thing. But if you put it in the coaster, which has a divot in it, then all of a sudden you have a stable bottle, and you can fill it that way, which is pretty nice. I think the opening on this bottle is totally fine. It's big enough for most pens. However, as the bottle gets lower, it might be harder to fill because of the way that it is shaped. But it is very cool that they have this interesting shape, and they have this weird coaster and stuff. So about this little divot here of shimmer, this is another little bottle of shimmer. They give you just a little bit more shimmer on here if you want to. And it says, more Stardust. White Stardust in the bottle has been measured and added to preserve the peach shade. We don't want the shade to be reduced by the shimmering. That's a good thought. A few of you, however, might want more shimmer. We recommend you try the bottle of ink as it is, see how you like it, and then add more to your liking. So there is a little bit more here. I don't think this is nearly enough shimmer, honestly. You can actually see a bit of it in the ink as I shake it around. It suspends pretty well in here, I think, when you can finally get it moving. There we go. But it's just not very much shimmer. And this is a very pale ink, as you can see here. So maybe more shimmer would help, but I wanted to do the review as it is in the bottle because that seems like the most helpful thing. All right, let me clean up all this stuff that came with this bottle, and I'll be right back. All right, there is the ink here. This is Endless Magic Peach Fuzz. This is my usual casual note from Nebula. I really like this paper. It's really good at fountain pen inks and repelling water and all that kind of jazz. And I think it makes the ink look pretty darn nice. You do have plenty of color here in the swatch, and you can probably see like these lighter parts. That is the shimmer. It's just like it's not a very shimmery shimmer, even when you can see a bit of it. It's there's just not really enough, even in a big swatch of it. And then here, I wrote this with a broad nib. It was this pen right here, which is a Narwhal Nautilus. This is the Year of the Tiger one. I thought it went pretty well with this. But the ink is just too pale. There's just not enough ink in this ink, I think. I think they needed to give you a little bottle of ink to put in it because there's just not really enough. You see here, it says flow medium, but thin. I haven't had any problems with it starting up or, clogging or anything. Obviously, it's not clogging on all that shimmer, but it's a little bit on the thin side, and you can tell that from the way that it writes here. You can see the top of the B's and such, and the H's. A lot of these descenders will be very, very pale, and then sort of here is where that ink pools. So the tops of your lines and that sort of thing will look very pale, and it is some shading, but it's just so darn pale. So darn pale. Quality, shading, and shimmer. Mild spread and bleed on copy paper. It's not great on copy paper, unfortunately. Comments. I'm really on the fence about this one, as I say here, because sometimes I like it quite a lot. I'm like, oh, this looks really good. And then sometimes it's just not any good at all. One of the things about these very pale inks is that if you use them on bad paper, generally that's a little bit better because they will soak in more and you'll get more of that color in one place instead of, you get these like weird super pale descenders and that sort of thing. But with this one, it's just not great on copy paper either. So It's not great. I mean, it's better after it dries, as I mentioned here, but I like to watch the ink go down on the page. I don't want to write some almost invisible stuff and then wait for it to appear, and that's what you get with this one. Okay, so let's get our water drop test going here. You can take a look at that chromatography while we do this, and then we'll take a look at it on some other papers. Goodness, sometimes it's really just blast water everywhere. And look at it on some other papers, and look at it next to a few other inks that are kind of close to it. I give this a little bit of a shake and a shimmy there. We got a little bit everywhere, but this is just not a very water resistant ink. I'm probably going to lose a letter up here or something. Ooh, just to the top of the A. That's not too bad. There we go. Yeah, completely obliterates the little crosshatches and everything there. Completely gone. Very, very gone. Don't get this anywhere near water or you'll have this Magic Peach Fuzz magically disappear. On the chromatography, I think it looks pretty nice, but you can see it started here and there's nothing left. You can barely see like a little line there. There's actually the shimmer. You can see that white bit there. It's just not a very powerful shimmer. I don't know. This ink is just not going to be, probably not going to be for a lot of us. It might be interesting for art stuff, but I don't know. Given how it just washes entirely away, I don't even know if that would work well. It is a cool color with sort of like peach and pink and yellow and this sort of jazz up here. It's very peach. Very peach, right? Skin of the peach, flesh of the peach, middle of the peach, outside of the peach. It's very peachy, but I want more ink, especially for $20. All right, here it is on some Marman Juris paper, Giuris. Pretty sure you say it Juris. This is Outstanding Directors, Production Placards. This is about how you find your way to production stuff in LA. Really interesting little bit from the 99% Invisible City by Roman Mars and Kurt Kolstedt. And I think it actually looks pretty okay on this paper. It's not as pale, but also it's a bit more vivid on the camera than it actually is in real life. The camera is really doing some work bringing out the color of this. It's much paler in real life, honestly. Let's see if I can. I don't know. It's still looking a little bit more vivid in the camera than it is in real life, which is kind of weird, but I guess good if you're going to take a picture of it. All right, so there you go. Take a picture of that if you want to recreate that whole book. Then here we have it on our Staples 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper. It's this line right here, of course, and that Nautilus broad nib. These broad nibs on the Nautili are generally pretty wet. And you can see the ink here just fine, but it also just doesn't look great. It looks kind of blobby, and it spreads and sort of, gets together. And that's just because it's not really working super well on here. There's a whole bunch of bleed through, too. I mean, most things bleed through this paper, but you would hope that a pale ink maybe wouldn't do that as much. This one does. Then lastly, for our papers, this is our Galen Leather Co. Everyday book. This is old school Tomoe River paper, and there it is right there. I think it looks okay. You can actually see a little bit of that white shimmer, I think, right there. It's not so much a shimmer as it is sort of like a shadow, but it's there, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Just doesn't look great. All the letters kind of like trying to mix together. The shading looks really nice, though, so that's cool. All right, so there is the card for this, and as usual, the swatch card is looking better than the actual writing does. There's the writing sample there on the back. It looks okay, but again, not great. Too pale for Mike. I want more. And it does have shimmer. I should probably write shimmer down here. Maybe I'll put it on the edge so I don't forget. There we go. It's there. It's just it's so pale that it's almost not worth bothering. All right, so a few links that look sort of like this. This is Troublemaker and Flax Pen to Paper Momomochi, which is a really interesting ink there. I got this sample from my friend Kimberly. And then we also have here Diamine and Cult Pens Gruntled Guava, which honestly I bought because of the name, but it's also a beautiful color and it has more ink in it than the Magic Peach Fuzz does, so it's probably a good paper ink rather to get for that one. Then we have Diamine Peach Punch. This is from Inkvent in 2021. You can totally get this. Bought that one from Lemur Ink. And then this one here is Diamine and Cult Pens from their Flowers collection. This is Orchid, which is I think a little bit redder, but also it's actually paler than Peach Fuzz, I think, by a fair amount. But if you look at the corners, you can see it's a little bit redder, but just as pale. Really interesting. These Diamine and Cult Pens inks, some of them are just way paler than I want them to be. If there was more ink in this, I would love it too. So, just put more ink in your ink if you don't mind. Companies, we want to be able to use this stuff for writing. Although it's good for art, maybe. So there you go. Artists, sound off in the comments if that's you. All right, thanks very much for watching. This is Endless Alchemy Peach Fuzz, the Magic Peach Fuzz. They have a couple of others that I think are way better. They have one called Golden Sunburst, which is beautiful. They have one called Bronze something bronze, which is also gorgeous. And both of them are darker and kind of just better for writing than Peach Fuzz. Although I gotta say, they kind of nailed the peach aspect of it here, especially with that chromatography. It's very peachy, but it's just a little too pale. So hopefully I have helped you find or else avoid an ink here. Tell me what you think about this one down there in the comments. Tell a friend, hit the like, subscribe, all that jazz. Become a patron if you want to. And I'll see you in another video soon. Until then, think about what you put out in the world. Make it a better place. Peace out, y'all.